Before we dive in, viewer discretion is advised. This content is for entertainment purpose. What happens when television's self-appointed queen of daytime discovers she has become the punchline of late night? What happens when 30 years of unchallenged monologues crash into the brick wall of comedic precision? What happens when the hunter realizes too late that she was never the predator at all? Joy Behar calls her a 10. Greg Gutfeld announced, his voice dripping with theatrical disbelief. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a sexist rating system? He paused, letting the setup breathe. But it's such a typical thing from a 1.5, the studio erupted. Tyrus sat beside him, stone-faced as a sphinx, yet somehow radiating the quiet satisfaction of a man watching karma finally clock in for its shift. The ammunition had been loaded. The siege had begun. Well said, Tyrus offered, his voice carrying the weight of a judge delivering a verdict. Then came the kill shot, the motive stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. Greg's eyebrows rose with mock innocence. I mean, assuming she jogs. The pause stretched like a rubber band pulled to its limit. Oh, wait, there she is. On screen flashed an image that needed no explanation. The audience howled. The comparison had been drawn. The battle lines had been etched in fire. She has a point, Greg continued, pivoting with the grace of a matador. Maybe I am obsessed. But some people are obsessed with Bigfoot and they don't get to see him on TV every afternoon. He leaned forward, eyes twinkling with mischief. And if they did, could they tell the two apart? I don't know. The shrug that followed was a masterclass in comedic timing. Everything exploded on screen in the most chaotic, beautiful way imaginable. Joy Behar had believed, truly believed, that she held the moment in her manicured hands, that the narrative belonged to her, that the throne was secure. But Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus had other plans. They turned her entire empire upside down with humor so sharp it could slice through bulletproof glass, so precise it felt like surgery performed with a scalpel dipped in acid. And even as Joy maintained her confident expression 3,000 meters away, Greg kept firing joke after joke after joke. Each one landing like a guided missile, finding its target in the dark. Tyrus remained perfectly calm throughout, dropping one-liners that hit harder than a freight train at full speed. No yelling, no theatrics, just quiet devastation delivered with the energy of a man ordering coffee. The way Joy's carefully constructed image crumbled without her even being present to defend it, created pure, unforgettable chaos. A roast battle crashing into a reality show meltdown. All packed into one unbelievable moment of televised destruction. It's not even that, Tyrus observed, his voice steady as bedrock. The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters. The words landed like stones thrown into still water. Ripples spreading outward, truth echoing through the studio. You need to fire the racists, he continued. Building momentum. You've had people, you had McCain on there. You've had people before and you ran them off. Greg nodded, the picture of agreement. So the racist ones who want to stick to this Whoopi and Sunny, and that he paused pretending to search his memory. Was it B. Midler? What's her name? Laughter cascaded through the studio like an avalanche. Tyrus delivered the finishing blow without changing his expression. The broke-ass B. Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican, Tyrus added. But every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being the sentence didn't need finishing. Everyone knew. Everyone remembered. Joy Behar had been sitting on her television throne for decades, carrying herself like nothing could shake her foundation, like nothing could penetrate her fortress of self-satisfaction. I was like, shush, the sound effect was a verbal sword being drawn. Listen, Tyrus continued, voice hardening. They're bitter. They're angry. They're entitled. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last few years. They called him Hitler. They called him these things. America rejected them. The verdict had been delivered by 63 million voters. The appeal had been denied. The sentence was already being served. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they're doubling down, Tyrus observed. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through It honestly felt like watching someone point out that the emperor forgot to wear his clothes without even mentioning a name. Yet, everyone instantly knew exactly who was standing there, completely exposed. Tyrus didn't need to crack a joke or say a single word. He just sat there with that calm, stone-faced expression that silently screamed, "Wow, I can't believe this is what we're actually talking about right now." And that silence landed harder than any punchline ever could. Joy's confidence melted right in front of everyone like ice cream left on a summer sidewalk. The wildest part was that Greg and Tyrus didn't even have to step on her stage to shake things up. They conducted the demolition from their own studio, their own territory, in their own kingdom where the rules were different and truth was still allowed. The View hasn't been real conversation in ages. It's become more of a skit about people pretending to share deep thoughts while the audience claps on cue trained seals performing for fish that stopped being fresh years ago. But what Greg and Tyrus do is the total opposite. They don't need cue cards or rehearsed lines or fake applause. They just sit there, talk honestly, and somehow turn every awkward truth into comedy gold. Watching that happen felt like long-delayed justice finally catching up to all the drama. The bill coming due, the check being cashed, the karma finally clocking in. "Sure, loves running her mouth," Greg observed. "She should. It's the only running she does." The joke landed like a precision strike. Simple, devastating, unforgettable. "So, what did you make of this?" Emily interjected. "V-back, V-back. V-back is what she called him. I don't care if you disagree or agree with him. That dude is not dumb." The laughter confirmed what everyone already knew, and that is what was so ridiculous. Emily continued. "Everything that comes out of her mouth is ridiculous. But for her to make that kind of point about someone that we all know, regardless of how you feel about his politics or him running, he is undeniably brilliant." It's so the sentence didn't need finishing. The absurdity spoke for itself. The Queen had called the chess grandmaster stupid and the entire board laughed in response while the View keeps clapping for itself and pretending it's delivering some deep important message. Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus are serving comedy that actually hits. And you can clearly tell which side people enjoy more. One side keeps preaching and scolding, wagging fingers at an audience that stopped listening years ago. The other makes you laugh so hard it feels like stress melting away. Like tension releasing. Like truth finally being spoken after years of carefully curated lies. When people get tired of being talked down to, they always choose laughter. Always, without exception, every single time. Which is why Joy Behar wasn't even part of this takedown. She was probably sitting in her chair, waiting for some dramatic debate, preparing her talking points, rehearsing her outrage while Greg and Tyrus were already roasting her from miles away. Like an old TV dinner forgotten in the oven. She was burning without even knowing the heat was on. No invite, no red carpet, no notification, just quiet destruction from another studio entirely.